Here to inject a little culture on Radio Row. It's not just all, meathead conversations for the Super Bowl, although maybe we'll. I'm here with Tony Award winner Joe Mantegna and actor, playwright, producer, jack of all trades, Ronnie Marmo, and you guys are here for the show that you're promoting. Is I'm not a comedian. I'm Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce, a favorite of mine. So this is actually very cool. I'm a stand-up comedian nerd when it comes to that stuff. So that was a long time ago, though. So why tell this story now?
Well, the way the society's behaving, it felt like it was last week. I'm not sure it was a long time ago. I think more than ever, we need Lenny's voice. It feels timely. I mean, as an actor, I found Lenny in terms of the first, just as an actor. But then when I fell in love with the guy and realized what he represented, and then how important he is today, it just kind of all came together, kind of a perfect storm,
You mentioned the relevance that you feel like it has now. First Amendment, free speech, cancel culture. I mean, those are not new concepts. Those are things that he faced, and it wasn't just him. It was George Carlin. I mean, George Carlin was ripped off the stage in Milwaukee for the words that he was saying. This is stuff that has been going on a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's why it is so apropos today. And I mean, and I'm old enough to remember when Lenny Bruce was performing, and I remember the days when George Carlin was first starting out. Was actually very kind of, pretty straight kind of normal kind of humor. Richard Pryor, that whole crowd. But you could see how then they were influenced by what Lenny had done. And that's what this play basically does. This play takes you in 90 minutes without an intermission, takes you from birth to death, literally, of the man Lenny Bruce. And Ronnie does this remarkable job of doing that, of portraying it. It's actually not, I would say less than half of the show is the performance aspect of Lenny, because I would say a little more than half of it is the story of his life and the things he had to face and endure. And
I was going to ask about that because there are various productions about stand-up comedians, and it can be tough if you have an actor who's not a stand-up. I mean, Gene Smart was great in Hacks, and you don't see that much stand-up comedy. So what was the appeal for you as an actor to say, this is something I want to take on?
Well, for me, as a director, it was just that, because it is an actor's role, and then also Ronnie had the capability of I think of doing a great job of capturing the humor that Lenny had.
Yeah, it's exciting. As an actor, it's exciting to be a part of something that not only personally matters, it matters to people who come and see it, to be connected with something so important. And it's fun. I mean, as an actor, this guy was so complicated, and he was so funny, and he was so dark, and he was so everything, that to just happen to a tenth of that is so fun as an actor. And it's a 90-minute monologue. It's massive. It's an undertaking every night. I think I've done over 350 performances now, and it's still humbling. And the reason I still like to do it is because I don't quite feel like I have it yet. And I hope I never get good at it, to be honest, because I might stop doing it. There's a humility involved with this performance,
There is a recent pop culture portrayal of Lenny Bruce. He's in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and do you think that has a frame of reference that people can at least come in if they don't know the story? I'm sure there are a lot of people that come that don't know the story of Lenny Bruce.
1,000,000%. I think it's been fantastic for us. I mean, he's not the star of the show, so he doesn't get to do, in my opinion, enough, because I love Lenny. I'd like to see that guy get to do more. But the idea that he has made many people aware of who Lenny was, and that he was a real person and what he meant. And so I know that show has sold a lot of tickets for our show, but especially younger generation, they're like, oh, that guy did exist, and I want to learn more about him. And so it's been a great. I mean, when I say everything came together so perfectly, that's one of the things I'm talking about. I found Lenny, found the play, the time we're in, Maisel, all of it just kind of got cooked up together, and it felt like a perfect storm,
And for you, Joe, you've been acting a long time. When did you undertake the directing side of it?
Well, in terms of this particular.
Well, just in general.
Well, in general, I think it's an evolution. I mean, I think there are some actors, dear friends of mine, who all they wanted to do was direct. In other words, you always make that joke. You see guys wearing T-shirts, I'd rather be directing or something like that. I was never that guy. I really wasn't. I mean, I got started out as a performer and actor, and I did that for a long time. But when given the opportunity, and early on in especially my theater career, when I got exposed to and had the capability and the opportunity to do some directing, I did. And that evolved, and I started directing in television, directed a motion picture. And then when Ronnie came to me with this idea of his to do this Lenny Bruce thing, once I saw the material he had put together and the way he was going to do it, I thought, this is great. I absolutely, I'm in. And so, just a natural progression.
All right, so let's tie this all in with the Super Bowl, right? So, football is a performance. There's going to be a pretty big audience in the Super Bowl. Let's say you get a chance to address the team about performance, anxiety, dealing with those things. Do you have any advice for, hey, this is going to be a big moment, but this is how you can be ready for it?
I would tell the team, don't start the game like I start my play, and that is dead naked on the toilet. Put your pants on before you leave the locker room. It's the weirdest show I've ever done because it's the only show I have to get naked to start, and I get dressed in front of the audience. It's really bizarre. So I would tell them, make sure you wear your clothes and the uniform. And that's it, and just have fun. And it's a huge game, but I think once it starts, once the whistle goes off, get back to what you do, because it should end up being a typical game for them, because the nerves eventually will just get into the game,
Right.
Do you have a pre-show process that you go through to try and get you in the frame of mind?
Yeah, but I can't talk about it.
Aside from getting naked?
No, you'll lose your radio program. I really can't talk about it. So it's better you don't know. Let's just say, because maybe we'll be friends, but if I told you, we wouldn't be. So, right, Joe?
Yeah, there you go.
A couple of weird things happen backstage I don't want to talk about. I'm getting a little crazy. What are you going to do, Joe?
I don't want to hear about it.
Hear about it? You invented it. You told me what to do. He's acting all coy now. He knows what I do.
A hint?
Oh, I don't know. I do weird actor stuff. I mean, I don't make bird noises or anything. I know.
No.
I don't mean to insult any actors who do that. It was never my thing, quacking up and down the hallway. But you just kind of drop yourself into the moment. You want to be really, what's the word? You want to be settled in by the time you get out there, and not try to get settled in. So I just try to take it easy. I always put on a little jazz, honestly. About 20 minutes before I put on a little jazz, and I just relax and kind of drop myself into the swing and into Lenny's mind, and also drop myself into the 60s. So it's usually some good music, and I just relax. Have a cup of tea,
Yeah, my advice to them would be like, I said, I made a comment earlier about how when I was shooting the movie Godfather 3, and I'm on the set, for my first scene, I looked around, I'm thinking, oh, there's Francis Coppola, oh, there's Al Pacino, and you start to go, wow, I'm actually going to be in one of these movies. And then I had this tinge of nervousness, but then almost instantly I had to say to myself, wait a minute, I've been doing this since high school. This is what I aspired to do, and this is where I aspired to wind up. So I says, this is it. It's showtime. So then you go. That's the same thing I would say to the players. I'd say, this is what you did in Pee Wee football. You know what I mean? So now you're at the Super Bowl. What did you expect? Or what did you hope would happen, right? When you're here, go for it.
Yeah.
You should have that same kind of energy, excitement that you had when you were playing, as a little kid, and then let it go.